Hey, I'm Kev Hillman. Welcome back to MXGP Pros for the final time this season. Hillman revs it up, waiting for the gates to drop as the finale of the World MX2 Championship gets underway here in France. Still pouring it down as Jonas gets the whole shot, and Hillman battling for the title. Well, barely. If it is basically Jonas's, has he got the whole shot, he's in the lead. Hillman battling to get into the top 10. Back with Prado, easily clears the Spaniard. Goes over the jump, clears it confidently enough. Then sideways into the right hand, trying to get past a couple. Ryan Kinahomio Patrell into the top 5 as he's behind Covington. His old rival this season. So already do battle getting into each other. Looks like Hillman down the inside of him, and Olsen and Sewell into second. Behind the title rival Jonas. It goes over the jump, nicely cleared. So it is the top 2 in the championship, top 2 in the race. We'll do battle here in the final round of the season. We'll grab glory. I said it probably is over in the championship because Jonas has a 23-point lead. Hillman has to win, and Jonas has to finish outside the top 20. As you can see after this first lap, that's already improving impossible. But we'll see what Hillman can do. If he can do the mistake-free race. The crest for this season, have no mistakes in a race. Could it finally be over in the final race of the season? Leaving the best till last. We will see. As he slides a bit on the bank. I want to be careful not doing that a lot. Finally, can Hillman just end his MXGP career with a victory, retiring after this race? After coming back from America with lots of Supercross trophies, trying to prove he can compete with the best. Still in mainly Europe again, based as all hits the sign on the inside. Stays upright. And he's definitely done that as he looks down the inside of Jonas. Already getting elbows out on the pair. But the KTM holds off the advance of the Kawasaki for the first time. Then it takes another little look. How about into the left? Has another look down the inside. Jonas just about holds on. And blocking Hillman. Hillman trying to cut back, but Jonas just blocking that racing line. How about into the next right? Hillman trying to get by. He's shuffled ahead, has he? Hillman leads out of Jonas. Just about. God, that was close. Sorry, over the bank. Gets a great slide on out the final corner across the line. Onto the third lap. So Hillman leads, Jonas in second. If only that it was that way in the championship as well. But he could end his MXGP career with another double, another oval, another Grand Prix victory that had to the tally as well. We really talked a bit about this season, but not about the career really. Starting off in MX2, placement rider, didn't do that well. Somehow he stuck along though for another season. Did very well. I think he won it actually in his second season. And set up to MXGP level, won the title there as well. And headed over to Supercross to America. Won in the 250 East. Should have won the 250 West title as well. That will haunt him. Losing that out by just a couple of points. But then grabbed the 450s championship. Now headed back to it for this season. See if he had anything left in the tank. Battered and bruised his body after years of punishment. Years of falling. Hitting his head on everything. I'm surprised he even knows his name after all these years of riding. But apparently he does still. Or he thinks he's called Kev Hillman. I don't know. So almost 5 minutes into his final race. It actually isn't raining for this race. These are just my tears, you know. I'm very emotional. But World Career has been multiple titles, I said, across the globe. Remember, you got Supercross as a FIM World Championship, I think. So we didn't compete in the motocross over in America. Maybe we can cross that off the list though. Come out of retirement for one final season. We talked about this season last time out, so it's about the game now. About MXGP Pro. Where do we begin? It's a bit like MotoGP 18. It's the first MXGP game on this engine, isn't it? Or the second actually, after MXGP 3. And MXGP 3 was a good improvement over MXGP 2. Definitely felt a bit more arcadey, but you know, so equal parts more realistic with the track deformation, with the weather. And that's been enhanced again for this game, the weather. And the first kind of kickback though is the track deformation. It's good between races, but in the actual races themselves, doesn't feel like there's as much difference going on during a race, which is really disappointing. I thought they'd try and push that on, but obviously not. So the track you're feeling from first lap to the last, it feels mostly the same. Maybe the odd section feels slightly different, but I'm not sure if that's me kind of perceiving it realistically like it actually is, or if I'm just adding on my own kind of feeling. Like you can see, it's pouring down with rain. Like the track should be getting very muddy, very slushy. It should be very difficult to ride as this race goes on, but what we're riding now will be exactly the same as it is on the last lap. So that is pretty disappointing. So the riding style as well, the physics, much more difficult, especially trying to land these jumps. As I've gone on before how it feels kind of fake when you fall down after landing a jump. I can land it 2 times exactly the same, but one lap I will be fine, the next lap I will be falling down for whatever reason. At least in my eyes it feels like I'm doing the same. Maybe I'm not actually landing them exactly the same. That could be an issue, but just perception wise it doesn't feel good, that mechanic of you falling. So there's definitely something to be looked at. Want to do another MXGP game or something to look at for the Supercross. It's just the riding mechanics as well. I kind of liked it in MXGP 3. Like I kind of got used to it because it's very forgiving, that game. So I was just riding around like a madman. It was pretty good fun. This game is not good fun, I would say, riding style wise. It's very, I'd say it's on the way to be more realistic. I don't see it's quite there with this game. I know, could you say that about most milestone games, I guess, like with MotoGP? But this game very much feels like a reset, like MotoGP 18 is. But I think with this extreme career, it does provide a good challenge. It's just a shame we can't chuck in the Supercross as well and chuck in the American motocross into this and just have a fantastic kind of experience across the world with the Supercross and motocross and the MXGPs. I guess it's due to licensing reasons, you just can't chuck it all into the same game. Imagine that. That would really satisfy people for a year, and they could, pick and choose if they just want to stick with the MXGP side. They could just go through career like that. If they wanted to also go over to the Supercross, they might as well chuck that out. or just stay in Supercross. Or if you just want to be in the motocross, make a motocross, just be riding outside, go with that too. Could have the ultimate experience there, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like they're able to do that. As they're being caught for the lead now, as we've ended the first field of the race exactly how we wanted to, in the lead. Been cruising the last couple, that's what I've been reviewing this game, but yeah, physics side, definitely lots to kind of work on and improve upon. The air physics, which this game was advertised on, being more free. They are more free, but barely. Oh, they're not as advertised. Like, oh, you can move your bike so many different ways. No, it's not like MX versus ATV. At least they shouldn't aim to be that free. It's absolutely ridiculous in that game. But again, that's not really aiming for realism, is it? It's more of an arcade experience. But with these games, again, I'm just not... Air physics aren't anything to write home about, and still aren't anything to write home about. I hope they've improved them for Supercross. And that's why you rarely see me scrubble whip in the air, because most of the time you actually crash when landing. And so for some reason with the freer air movements, it doesn't seem to kind of gelled with that physics well. Again, you do have to land them properly now. They're not just auto time events. You actually have to land properly. But like I said, most of the time, I just seem to crash. So maybe they're just not gelled those physics together well, or I'm just rubbish. I have no idea, because I think it's like 9 times out of 10 it doesn't end well. And that's another reason not to use air physics. So you're just riding around as you're seeing me, because you're guaranteed if you're going to crash, it's mostly going to be your fault riding around like this by yourself. Oh, that's as far as I venture, doing a little whip in the air, getting the back end out slightly. That's about it. But nothing that could affect the landing. As we approach halfway mark of this race, sounds like we're playing out the lead again. So yeah, that's very disappointing. Like I said, they advertised the game as such. That was going to be much more freer, and it wasn't. But again, I think most games are like that now, advertising a project they don't actually produce. So it's not just Milestone's fault, it's a game industry fault as well. Very few games seem to, these major releases like this, seem to actually live up to what they're advertising. But again, don't be doing it either, game companies. Of course, you have it with the big AAA games such as, Watch Dogs, and the graphics kind of downcrease from years ago. Had it with quite a few games, graphics downcreases. But for this, they're advertising a mechanic which actually isn't really present. I don't know, might be even worse than downgrading the graphics of your game, which everyone shows off at E3 and then actually, turns it down for the actual game, because they've got the pumped up version, don't they, for E3, or for the big events that they show off. So it might actually be worse in Milestone's case, the advertising, because they advertised something which was not really there. I get the feeling they probably knew it wasn't really there, because they haven't heard much from MXGP Pro support-wise since release. They have, to be fair, some have release update patches almost every month, I think, or at least when it first came out, it was every month. I think they had a bit of a break in the autumn months, but they released a patch last month for this as well. Again, those patches haven't really addressed major issues such as online, I think. Now, I haven't checked out online, so I can't really commentate on that. But I hope to God it's better than MXGP 3. That was abysmal, trying out that online. I couldn't even get into a race. Because I only did like 1 or 2 races after hours of trying to get into races. It was shocking. So I hope online's improved from that. But last thing to go on physics. Yeah, it just feels like again a base model for what's to come. This game just feels exactly like F1 2015 was for the F1 franchise, where Codemasters had a new engine and they just put out a basic game because it's probably in the contract to release a game every year. So they didn't even have career mode in it again. That's how poor F1 2015 was. But it reset everything. It reset the handling model. Fortunately, it didn't reset some of the glitches, which still last today. And really reset online by making it visible as well. And it's still pretty poor, F1 online. Don't try F1 2018 online. If you can even get a race online. I think I tried when it was released. Even during the release week, it was tough getting races online. Mainly because you couldn't connect, but also because not many people just wanted to play online. It's crazy. So yeah, physics got lots to work on. I do like there's a bit more feeling in the middle of the corners where the back end's going to slide out. Brake feeling isn't quite there as much. I think it's better from MXGP 3, but still occasionally it just feels like it randomly goes down, so the feeling isn't quite translated enough maybe. But again, I think I've admitted previously in videos I'm rubbish at braking in any game with a controller, with a wheel, with anything. So I'm not sure if that's more my fault, just not getting that braking feel down. And then the setup improves actually pretty good. I'm not sure if it's expanded enough maybe for hardcore players, but for someone who's kind of in the middle, like I'm not casual, as you can probably tell from the channel, I'm not a casual player of these things, but as someone who's not kind of heavily invested in motocross and does follow the series but doesn't watch it regularly and just mainly just wants to hop on these games, I feel like it's been a good step with the setup menus, having the wheelbase in there. Gearing's alright as well. I'm not sure if there's less options on gearings, I'm not sure. But then doing the suspension work as well and actually really feeling those changes, like this setup I'm using. It's totally different to the basic setup that I used in guitar, and I feel like you actually have to explore the setup to make these bikes rideable. It's a bit like the same thing having MotoGP 18 now, where I actually have to mess with the setup. Same with Ride 3. So if that's one thing that's good about the Unreal Engine Switch, is that setups of bikes actually do kind of matter now. Actually feel like you have to go into the menus and feel the setup. I know that again that might turn away really casual players, but then how many really casual players are going to be buying MXGP Pro? I think that's the thing that's going on with, say, Dirt Rally as well. Like, Codemasters, a big company, producing a rally sim in Dirt Rally, but then seem to also be trying to market that as well to kind of a casual crowd, when, sure, it worked for Dirt Rally, but how many people are going to be also buying Dirt Rally 2.0 after the disaster of Dirt 4 in the middle? Like, which was meant to be for casual, is meant to be an arcade series, Dirt 4, but after the success of Dirt Rally, Codemasters really fouled up on the marketing, I think, for Dirt 4, and it's a very confusing entry in from the Dirt franchise, where it's coming off the back of the arcade side, but we had the simulation game in the middle, and so they tried to cater to both sides, it feels like, and failed miserably with that game. All they did from its sounds like, from the handling model, just had it understeer. which I think is what Milestone have been doing with their games as well on the new engine. So yeah, just very weird is Dirt 4, Dirt Rally 2.0, but it seems like Codemasters have got a better handle of what their audience is for Dirt Rally 2.0. It is just going to be guys who want these games to be as realistic as possible. And I think Milestone are tapping into that a bit more now with these games being on this Unreal Engine. Like, they're trying to make the handling more realistic, they're trying to improve the weather models and trying to make the experience more realistic. They're just not just on the path to it. As oh yo Jonas, okay, you actually want the battle for the lead now as you're into the final third of the race. And so I think that's the challenge for Milestone, is how to please the hardcore crowds, because the only people that are going to, they're kind of marketing to, is how as much as they probably would want to have a casual crowd, you know, part of these games, they're not going to be buying motocross games and so to break it to you. Maybe MotoGP has a bit more of a casual fan base. I could definitely see them maybe being more casual with that game, but for this game, for HGP, just build on what they've done with the physics, what they've done with the setup side, what they've done with the weather as well. Again, not much improvement during the races, but looks alright. It's a big step up from when they had previously, when they just had big blops on the screen or rain. It's and that's definitely has come with the Unreal Engine. So yeah, Redder, you know, looks good as well. Rider models could improve a bit. Like, you look at my rider's uniform, look how wet it is. He's not getting that muddy, is he? I mean, it happens in the dry, around say like Guitar Light, you can really get your rider, you know, dirty. But we're not seeing it here in the way when you would expect it a lot. It says, Jonas, I'm trying to do a review here of the game. You don't understand what's happening. He wants a serious battle. What the hell? So yeah, they've definitely got to improve that. And then talking about racing as well, as you saw there, definitely got to improve the damage models or contacts with riders. It is terrible in the Unreal Engine. I don't know if they've increased it, tried to make it more realistic, but as you saw, I could just punt Jonas out the way. And the opponents can just punt us out the way. But we feel it more. I'm not sure it's because of the assist I'm running. Like, I've got no assist running. Maybe if you run assist, you feel it less. But I go down like a stack of bricks being hit. It's the same issue in all Milestone properties. Ride 3, MotoGP 18, where the AI just have an unfair advantage. You know, when you're initiating contact or when they initiate contact, I can go into them like a ton of bricks and I'm the only one that's kind of going down, it feels like. Apart from MotoGP Online, they go down like a feather as well, which is really weird. Like, I don't know why they have, it feels like 2 different collision systems for online. Again, that might be just because of internet connection as well. Texture's not too hot online, unfortunately. In Milestone games at least. So yeah, it's just very weird, the collision system. Then 5 minutes, last 5 minutes of this race, Jonas wants to battle for the win. God's sake. So I can do that, I can slide in gently, like touch them gently on the side, but anything more than that, there's issues. And that's a problem, as I said, in kind of all the Milestone games, especially as in motocross, it can get a bit more physical than say MotoGP, where you're not meant to touch anyone. And if you do gently touch someone in MotoGP, you're going down. I can understand it being contact model being a bit more harsh in that, but in motocross where you can get a bit handlebar to handlebar a bit more, it's just a very weird contact model. Yeah, it's definitely something to improve upon. But again, you got a base there, I guess, to try and improve it. Especially as I think it was an MXGP3 as well. It could just bash each other out the way. But it feels like a step back compared to that. And then finally, let's go into the mode, shall we? I think I've talked about enough. There's customization as well. That's okay. But the modes, career mode, there's extreme career, too easy. Like, I've been rambling for almost half an hour now and I'm leading. I'm not even concentrating that much. I haven't fallen. And look how slick these conditions are. Like I should be. There's all there's Varna Trins are now battling over third. Like I should be making mistakes. That isn't very extreme. So, yeah, definitely introduce the slider like they have in the MotoGP and Ride games. I'm sure that's going to be coming in Supercross as well. Like the slider, that definitely seems to kind of solve that issue that we have here when you have preset difficulties and just doesn't work out most of the time now. So it's good to see that it's not just sims now that have sliders for difficulty. I would like to see it for aggression as well. Maybe that could solve the contact issues too. Like AI aggression, they have that in sims. They have it in, Automobilista, R Factor. Not sure Assetto Corsa because I haven't really tried out Assetto Corsa. But I always have it in Race Room too. So, yeah, I'd love to see that side of the simulations come through as well to this. These would be sims. I don't know, simulation is such a weird definition now for games because this is a simulation, all intents and purposes, apart from some aspects, but I don't think many people would actually class this as an MXGP sim though, because it's called in that halfway house between arcade and simulation. I would probably describe it as sim, but again, sims are mainly defined by handling. If they're trying to make handling realistic, it's probably not quite there, so I don't know. Not sure if it is a sim or not anymore, or what is a sim. That would be a good video actually, talking about definitions. What are simulations? Like what video game series are sims? Of course you got iRacing and Automobilista, but then they don't try and replicate Wayne like we do, but they do put a lot of effort into replicating track conditions, everything else apart from say weather. Like there's very few things in say iRacing now which are not being simulated, like even their physics as well. Even though not everyone agrees with their physics model, they are trying to do it to the best of their saying, replicate what it is like to drive say a Le Mans racer or dirt racing. Or that was the stupidest crash I've ever seen in this game. Well, there goes the mistake-free race. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. It should have, but I have no idea how I crashed. Again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, because I was leaning back and then my guy just went forward like a stone as you saw cartwheeling, so I've lost the lead and there goes the mistake-free run. Even though that wasn't really a mistake, it felt like, because I got off the throttle and had regained control, but then my guy just cartwheeled. Anyway, distracted, so yeah. It's a good basis for a good game here. Again, I'm not sure this is actually a good game because I said too easy. I just had it in extreme career instead of just, letting us, we can just choose any options anyway. This is not actually a separate mode, really. It's just career mode, but turned up to the extreme. It's like what they had in, again, F1 2015, where they had, I think it was GoPro mode or Pro mode, which is just, again, all the options just turned to the most extreme. So it wasn't actually a new game mode, really. It was just all the options turned off, basically. So yeah, it definitely indicates that there's, I don't know, there's maybe something else they had, another game mode they had. I mean, you got the usual championship, Grand Prix, time attack. You don't have the Motocross of Nations, which is really disappointing, as I wanted that to be my last MXGP Pro video, but then I noticed, oh, there's no option for that now. Where's that gone? DLC, no real DLC been released either, even though, once again, they promised it. It seems like, because there's a store for downloadable content, there's just nothing there. And we're 6 months into the game's life, so what's coming? Again, they had basically no DLC for MXGP3 either. So there seems to be no point. I don't know why they're trying to crowbar DLC into games like this, when there's no real DLC to be made from the sound, from the looks of it. I think they put old tracks out eventually for MXGP3. Oh, and they had the Supercross experience, which was totally pointless, because it's just one race, one rider, one track, Team Gazer, I think it was. And it felt like more just like a preview of Supercross rather than an actual addition to this game. So yeah, stop trying to crowbar DLC in, Milestone, when you really don't have nothing to crowbar in. But hey, they've done it in the past worse, and they seem to be improving, at least on that front. Plus, they got Ride 3, a game where they can actually put actual DLC in. They actually seem to be enjoying making Ride 3. But again, that has issues. I'll talk about it more in Ride 3 videos. I think I have ranted about it in Ride 3 videos as well, but again, that's a game which is quite basic. I don't know why they're kind of stripping back. Again, it is their first year with Unreal, so I guess I can understand on that point, but yeah, Motocross, or MXGP should I say, MotoGP and Ride, they've all had kind of stripped down version of the games this year, so Milestone, you just got to add on it next year, if indeed we do have an MXGP game again. And I can see we've got Supercross 2, but I haven't seen any announcing of, say, MXGP. This is actually going to be pro this time, super serious, winky face. I haven't seen that edition being announced yet. So I do worry if there is going to be an MXGP game next year. But then they normally announce the MotoGP games in like March for some reason, like really short before the game's going to be released. So there's going to be a MotoGP 19, it's going to be really announced around the start of the MotoGP season, so probably have to wait for that. And just to sum up, I guess, MXGP Pro overall, the compound's a nice idea. I quite like that. But again, it feels a bit into the tracks you're actually riding. And it feels like a feature from another game which they just put in for the sake of it. So we win. Our finale does Hillman. Hillman wins by almost 2 seconds in the end, ahead of Jonas, with Covington winning the battle as Varnes by a couple of seconds ahead of Olsen. Then see you again at top 5 at the end of the season. Good job from the Swiss rider ahead of Prado, Patriel, Boge, Zyber, Lawrence, Muse, Sevillin, Van Dotnik, and Sue. And you got Pujuz. I'm going to try and pronounce this Russian name for once. Okay, Bright, Bryankov, and Vassen, Seani. Then we've got Zaragana, Orano, then Zaragoza, Trepepe, and Herbrero. Home here and last on the Kawasaki. As So he's pretty happy. They all worked their socks off. We like you. We like you, homie. I'll get out of here, Tropepe. As we get 50 points a maximum, we take 8 points out of Jonas, but that thing has won the title with Olsen in third, Covington in fourth, Garcia in fifth, Seaver, Prattrell, the top of the home heroes ahead of Leiber, Lawrence and Bogues, Zaragoza in last.
He set an incredible pace in this race, leaving his opponents in the dust. This celebration is for him.
How the Monster Energy girls are alright. We're a bit pouring it down and they're up there on their skimpy outfits. As Hillman wins or loses the title by 20 points. You can look at like one race, I think, from or 2 races from the whole of the season where he probably lost the title, even one race maybe where he lost the title. But he probably gave himself too much to do after the first half of the season. He got close, then Assen happened, fell back, and in the end, just too much ground to make up. It doesn't help that in MXGP there's not too many points difference between first and second. There's only 3 points compared to 5, say, in MotoGP, or 7 in F1 or FI series. So yeah, you just need to be much more consistent, maybe, Hillman, to battle for the title. As he's only 24 points ahead of Covington and only a further 15 points back to Olsen. Just 59 points separating that top 4. It's very competitive this season. It was fantastic to see, with Prado a bit lonely in 5th in the end, ahead of Prattrell, Seaver, Leiber, Lawrence and Bogues. Bit of a gap then to the rest outside the top 10. Let's scroll through. There we got Sue in 20th. The German, good friend of Hillman now, apparently. Rubini in 30th on his Kazakh with 19 points. Right at the back of South Africa, he only appeared once, I think, this season on his KTM. As there is confirmed the championship stand into your top 3 in MX2 this season: Jonas, Hillman and Covington. As lots of credits handed out. A bit of fame as well. That's where countdown as a mistake for you. I told you that. That landing, that never happened. You're right. Here we are at the end of the season. You failed to take first, but you still managed to satisfy your main sponsor, the Jet, to a new transfer in Lumen on the horizon, where you can decide whether to change category, choose a new bike, customize it, or change your sponsors. The new season is ready to start. Straight away, give it your all. Dismissal, you were dropped by the foreign sponsors. Oh no. So you can change category, choose a new manufacturer and a new main sponsor. So let's see the 450s or 250s. Remember the old 2 strokes you can choose from as well. That's one thing I do love, that you can ride this in the 450 category as well. As let's just choose KTM's probably the best of the lot, isn't it? Kawasaki's a bit down. So just use Kawasaki. It's not like we're going to be really riding it anyway. Has what sponsors? Well, we've got to have green on the bike, don't we? So we've got, I think it's just the top 4, is it, we can choose from? There you go, just go with BIHR. And then you can choose new sponsors. It's a shame this aspect doesn't work out too much as well. I would have loved to, like, choosing the main sponsor or technical sponsor mean a bit more, rather than just, you know, a few more credits. Of course, improving the bike as well. But yeah, I would have hoped that would affect you a bit more, maybe, having the sponsors in. It's a nice idea though. So let's just proceed. So set to a new sponsor, new objective to finish at least 12th in the championship on the 450. This is our team manager. It's so pointless. Team manager. I don't know why they keep including them in the games mode. So at least if you include the team manager, make it a bit more meaningful. You know, maybe be kind of the go-to between the sponsors. That would be cool. Like, he can message you and keep reminding you, oh, you got to get this sponsor objective. Instead, he just shows up every off-season like, oh, you've got a new bike. Here you go. Go at it. He barely gets involved. I would have liked as well, where we had it in MXGP3 with like the kind of Twitter feed at the side, like you have in the loading screens in MotoGP. That was nice. That gave a good line of information on the side and actually make your team manager kind of visible a bit more, rather than going into the emails like this. So yeah, again, maybe another thing to think about UI wise, but overall, MXGP Pro, it's been fun. We will have a go on the 450s. Maybe not with Hillman, maybe just a 450 race to just sign off. And yeah, overall MXGP Pro, is it a step up from MXGP 3? Not a lot. In fact, it's kind of a step down in quite a lot of areas. Is it as good as Supercross though? Definitely not. It's not as kind of the atmosphere that they built up with the Supercross, with the same atmosphere that was fantastically kind of built up with those intros, with Ralph Shireen kind of slotted in as well, and then also just having the customization. Fantastic in Supercross, not so good in all of the other games. Even though they all seem to share the same customization options, it feels like, they could have put in all the same customization options in, say, MXGP or in, say, MotoGP or Ride as well mods. I don't know why they don't offer more customization in the other games. I don't know why Supercross is such a pedestal compared to the other games. Maybe, again, it could be licenses, it could be other stuff as well. But anyway, MXGP Pro, in the end, I've got used to it. Another point I had to make about is the AI, how oblivious they are. At least they do dive bomb and try and battle you as well. You can have some very good races. I know with the track as well, it used to be you could ride everywhere on MXGP3. You can't do that on this. Again, that's an improvement, I guess, but again, with the track deformation not really working out in races, you can't make your own line, for example. Like, you can't make it like a tight line or an inside line for corners like you could perhaps do in real life. Even though, again, that's maybe a bit more risky. You could have more chance of falling. I would like to see that with the track deformation. Battling AI as well, they could be oblivious to as well and just take you out. They could... The flip side of them being aggressive is that they can just wipe you out through no fault of your own. They just outbreak you because they have... Because I guess it's been programmed like, well, we have to dive bomb down their inside because we're in a certain gap behind them. But they just take you out, and it's just stupid. And as I said, with the collision system, it doesn't work out. So there's lots of things to improve for Milestone for the next installment of MXGP Rally or for Supercross, which is definitely coming out. And so AI is definitely top of the list. Track deformation as well, customization in this, to just fleshing out the game modes. Like, career mode's been the same for every game, I think, of the MXGP series. It's time to actually make it good, actually make it a bit more of an experience, a bit like they had with MotoGP previously, a bit like Cody's are doing with their games, which is of course harking back to, say, 2K with the NBA franchise. So that's kind of where they've been introducing career modes and trying to make it a bit more of an experience career mode. They've been doing the same with Madden as well, and other sports games in particular. So I'd like to see that more with motorsports games. You know, Cody's have started off pretty well with F1 2018, or the last couple of editions having to live the life as well when they first done the F1 games too. So I'd like to see that a bit more in MXGP, in Supercross, in V-Rally or WRC, or just other motor racing games, even in Dirt Rally maybe as well. So yeah, just flesh out the career modes, stop trying to cram in DLC even though you've got no DLC to offer for some reason, it looks like, and just more classic tracks as well, because you've got the 250s in here. How about some classic tracks? Maybe offer that as DLC like you've tried to do in previous games Milestone. Maybe do that as you did with MXGP3, I think, as well, return in some tracks, and as you did in the MotoGPs as well, offering tracks as DLC at extravagant prices. Maybe do that for future games. But I'm rambling on long enough. This is just meant to be a short wrap-up at the end of all my thoughts on MXGP Pro and on Hillman's career and career mode. But I said we will end with at least one more 450 race, so I'll probably just expand my points next time. But it's the end of Kev Hillman. He might have an outing in Qatar. You never know. He might have an outing somewhere else. We'll probably just choose my favourite circuit and just have a race around there so I can properly sum up MXGP Pro and career mode and our experiences with this game, and talking about future motocross games, talking about Supercross as well in that last episode of MXGP Pro. But I hope you enjoyed the career mode in MX2. I've enjoyed having these longer races. It's been a bit different compared to, say, MotoGP or the Ride Series or TT Isle of Man even, where we've had long races these No, 35 minutes of concentration. I failed most of the time doing it. So it's only, even in the last race, I had a mistake in quotation marks. That's a mistake-free race for me, because that was ridiculous, that fall. Felt like I did nothing wrong, and the game just, as I said, just auto-crashed me, it felt like. But we'll see what we can do next time then, you know, at MXGP Pro, and have a proper send-off rather than this kind of ramble, which is, it's still carrying on. Almost 50 minutes recorded, I'm still rambling. I need to stop this. Thanks for watching. Congratulations, we made it to this point in the video and then listened to me rambling for so long. And not just this video, for all of these MXGP Pro videos. I'll be back next time with probably a shorter race as well. Actually, no, shall we keep it extreme settings, but have a MXGP race that ends things. But I hope you enjoyed the MX2 career. I hope you enjoyed Kev Hillman in not just MXGP Pro, in Supercross, MXGP 3 and MXGP 2 as well. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.